Good evening and welcome to ITV News. This is Wednesday night's calendar.
Hello there, thanks for joining us. Here's what's coming up on the programme this evening.
This dad of 3 has spent £100,000 on brain tumour treatment abroad to buy more time with his children. He says it shouldn't have to be that way.
It's really disheartening in a sense that we can't necessarily do it here in the UK. It's just so mentally and physically draining.
Detectives launch a murder hunt after a man's gunned down in the street in South Yorkshire.
Legacy of the Langdale wildfires. This scorched landscape could take many decades to repair amid fears of more droughts in the future.
We should be feet deep in water here.
Have you ever seen it like this before?
Never. When the ponds were initially dug out, they filled themselves up within an hour. That's how wet this area normally is.
And in sport, wild scenes at Bramall Lane as the Blades manager boots a ball into the crowd and promptly gets his marching orders. But first, to the father of 3 young children who says he's relying on the kindness of strangers to buy him precious extra time with his family.
Andrew Hurst, who's from Newark, has an aggressive form of brain cancer and was told by doctors that he had just 12 to 18 months left to live. Now, he's just returned from Germany and what he sees as his best chance of survival, pioneering immunotherapy treatment.
But that treatment comes at a cost. So far, more than £100,000 has been raised by well-wishers. Andrew believes cancer patients shouldn't have to go abroad for care, which will prolong their lives. He's been speaking to John Hill.
For Andrew Hurst, back home, back to this.
I'm heading into the oxygen tent to give me the best chance of future treatment.
This oxygen tent, which Andrew is renting privately for £500 a month, is just one of the weapons he's turned to in his fight for survival. Diagnosed with an aggressive glioblastoma tumour last November, doctors here said Andrew would probably be dead within 12 to 18 months. But 11 months on, he's just returned from his first immunotherapy treatment in Germany, paid for by well-wishers. It could give him extra time to see his children grow up, but it means monthly trips abroad when he's physically and emotionally at his most vulnerable.
For you, Andrew, what's the feeling that here you are fighting an aggressive brain tumour and yet you feel to give yourself the best chance of survival, you're having to go to Germany as well? Yeah,
it's just really frustrating. It's really disheartening in a sense that we can't necessarily do it here in the UK. It's just so mentally and physically draining having to find these, to then organise them myself or my friends to help me organise, and then actually physically go out and do that when it's just frustrating. Why can't we do it here? You know, is it the fact that we haven't necessarily got the staff? Is it the doctor? You just don't know.
It's a real tragedy that the latest treatments aren't available on the NHS. We've got to work harder. We've got to get them available to UK patients. We've got to make sure that the regulatory authorities are working in a way that gets them to patients with the speed that's needed, because brain tumour patients don't have the luxury of time.
Thanks to the generosity of well-wishers, Andrew will travel back to Germany later this month for his next course of treatment. It could give him the extra time he craves to spend with his wife and children. And for those who've donated to his battle for life, he has only gratitude.
Just a massive thank you. It's just, honestly, it just blows me away in terms of people's generosity. It does sort of feel a little bit that I'm selling my soul in a sense, because I'm a proud Yorkshireman at heart, and it's been about having to swallow the pride again and again. But I have to remember it's not necessarily for me, it's for my children as well, and for my wife, and I'll do anything to have them extra days.
That was Andrew Hurst ending Hill's report, and of course we wish Andrew the very best. We approached the Department for Health for a comment on Andrew's story, but they are yet to respond.
In other news now, detectives have launched a murder investigation after a 32-year-old man was shot dead in Sheffield. Police were called to a street in Upperthorpe just after 10 last night.
He was treated by paramedics but died in hospital a short time later. Adam Fowler reports from the scene.
You can see behind me that this area of Watery Street is still cordoned off as a murder investigation now takes place. It was around 10 past 10 last night that the emergency services were called after reports that a man had been shot here. Paramedics tried to save the life of the 32-year-old, but sadly he was pronounced dead in hospital a short time later. His family are being supported by specially trained officers. Officers are now also carrying out inquiries to try and establish all the details around this shooting, and there are extra officers on patrol in the area. Residents have been told if they've got any concerns to speak to them. Police have also said they don't believe that this shooting was connected with a firearms discharge, which also happened yesterday just 2 miles away in Pittsmore. In that case, no one was injured, although a property was damaged. Now, a spokesperson for South Yorkshire Police said this is a devastating incident which has cut short a young man's life and will no doubt cause considerable concern in the local community. Gun crime has absolutely no place in South Yorkshire, and I want to reassure residents and the victims' family and friends that they're working relentlessly to try and trace those responsible. They're particularly keen to hear from anyone who may have dash cam, CCTV or doorbell footage to help them with their inquiries. Adam Fowler, ITV News, Sheffield.
Well, next tonight to the moors near Whitby and the years, perhaps even decades, it could take to recover from the devastating wildfire that tore across acres of countryside this summer.
That's one campsite where guests were forced to flee the advancing flames. Its natural water supplies are now running so low that following the long drought, that its owner says that the impact could last well into next year.
But it's thought the ecosystem of the surrounding moors could take even longer to heal, as Fraser Maud has been finding out.
The spring's been down there for hundreds of years. It's marked on maps going back centuries.
And is that your main source of water for this part of the camp?
It's the only source of water for the entire farm.
So this is where the spring is tapped, effectively?
Yeah, this is the tank that collects it all.
After 8 months of drought conditions, the water supplies at Ed Gaskarth's campsite near Whitby are desperately low.
What should we normally expect to see? This full?
The level should be full at the moment, and the pipe at the back there should be delivering a good flow of water in.
And at the moment it's just dripping.
Well, you've got this trickle here.
How does this lack of water affect the business?
We have just got through by the skin of our teeth, but anything could basically go wrong at any point. If somebody was to leave a tap on and drain the tanks, we're out of water, and that means having to send people home, and the water is ultimately our responsibility, so that would mean massive refunds. It's been on a knife edge all summer, and it hasn't been pleasant. Some events we just haven't bothered with at all this year.
Ponds normally fed by the now non-existent overflow are totally dried up.
So these are the ponds that should ordinarily be full and get filled from that overflow?
That's right. We should be feet deep in water here.
Have you ever seen it like this before?
Never. When the ponds were initially dug out, they filled themselves up within an hour. That's how wet this area normally is.
It was the drought conditions that helped fuel the spectacular wildfire in Langdale, which burned for weeks and devastated hundreds of square miles of moorland. It was only de-escalated from being a major incident last week.
But North Yorkshire Fire and Rescue Service says it is still an active incident, because even though you can see green shoots of recovery coming through in places, there are still pockets of heat deep within the peat.
Ecologists say moorland like this can take decades or even centuries to recover from such an intense fire.
Lots of the sites where there was tall, unmanaged fuel load heather, it burned about 15 to 30 centimetres into the peat. So you have lost hundreds of years of carbon accumulation. So it would take, if you are lucky, it would take that amount of time, so several hundreds of years to rebuild that lost peat.
The heavy rain earlier this month did help to prevent the fires restarting and to raise the water table, but levels won't return to anywhere near normal without a sustained period of regular rainfall. Fraser Maud, ITV News, Langdale.
Incredible pictures there. Well, you're watching Wednesday's calendar. Still to come. Political battleground. The time for talking is over as Yorkshire's MPs take on their Lancashire rivals. Find out who wins this War of the Roses shortly.
And how to grow a thriving community. We look at the amazing work being done on this allotment in Sheffield's Winkerbank. Some news in brief now, and 6 men have been charged with historic sexual offences against girls in Kirklees. The offences are reported to have taken place in West Yorkshire between 1994 and 1998. The men are due to appear before Kirklees Magistrates Court tomorrow morning. Police are urging anyone who's been a victim of sexual assault to come forward.
The City of York's council is considering a vote on whether to remove the honorary freedom of the city from the Duchess of York over her ties to Jeffrey Epstein. A motion to remove the title may be tabled at next month's full council meeting after a 2011 email surfaced where she called the sex offender a supreme friend. It comes after the honorary freedom was removed from the Duke of York in 2022. York Council leader Claire Douglas said the authority deplores the links and continued associations with Jeffrey Epstein by those carrying the York title. Well, after a tricky party conference in Liverpool this week, where the future of the leadership came under intense scrutiny, Yorkshire's Labour politicians were given the chance to let off steam on the rugby pitch as they were pitted against their Lancashire counterparts.
And while the focus in Labour's War of the Roses was firmly on the game, politics was also never far from the players' minds. Fred Dimbleby went along to spectate from the sidelines.
1, 2, 3, yeah!
After their tricky start to life in power, Labour are hoping their conference has raised spirits. But away from the hall, Yorkshire MPs have been preparing for a grudge match, a war of the roses against their Lancashire rivals, a chance to settle old scores.
Today is just about having fun and also making sure we beat the wrong side of the Pennines.
I've already got a stitch, which is not a great side. No, it's really great to be outside exercising, playing Yorkshire versus Lancashire. Any opportunity to smash Lancashire, I'm going to be all over.
When you're in a conference hall for 4 days and you're all very cooped up and it's a very unhealthy atmosphere, you're eating rubbish and you're not probably getting as much sleep as you might, it's really good to come out and do something like this.
And for me personally, a way to get back at Keir Mather specifically, a Hull KR supporter, for Justice Warrington after the Challenge Cup final this year.
Fair to say Keir Mather, now a minister, was up for battle.
Oh, well, it's fighting talk and I'm here for it. I think we're going to have to settle these differences on the pitch, but I think Yorkshire's going to have the day, personally.
The Prime Minister recently shuffled his top team, but Sports Minister Steph Peacock kept her place in his starting lineup.
People here saying that rugby league needs more exposure, it needs more investment from government. What do you say to that?
I completely understand that. I know people across Yorkshire are incredibly passionate about it. At least Andy opened her speech talking about the importance of it at Labour Party conference. I'm going to go get on the pitch. Great.
If MPs were hoping for a relaxing runaround, no chance of that.
A bit offside there.
After their massive political victory last year, both sides were desperate to take home a win.
Good fun, isn't it, really? So we're having a good laugh. I think I'm getting a bit too rowdy on the sidelines, but yeah, absolutely loving it.
It wasn't just politicians getting involved, the pros had a go too. Among them, Jamie Jones Buchanan, not only a Leeds Rhinos legend, but also a constituent of Chancellor Rachel Reeves.
I'll always back for my own. I think me and Rachel had been turning on Christmas lights in Farsley and Bromley maybe 10 years ago. And I remember her back then trying and working hard. Life's never without its blemish, but when the sun rises the next day, you've got to keep going.
Yorkshire politicians are hoping to prove together they can get results for their constituents, and their 10-5 victory here brought home glory for the White Rose.
It's been a tough period for this party and for the government. They've been trying, but some feel not necessarily converting enough. They're hoping that they can come out of this conference newly inspired and can show to the public they can deliver on their policies.
This was only tag rugby, but politics is a contact sport. As Labour leaves Liverpool, the government now needs to show it can get its long-term plan over the line. Fred Dimbleby, ITV News, Liverpool.
Yeah, well. Well done, Yorkshire. Now, Sheffield United manager Chris Wilder was shown a red card during last night's game against Southampton for kicking the ball into the stand.
Yes, Wilder was quick to apologise to a supporter who was struck, but referee Andy Herzog showed no mercy in sending Wilder off. The Blades went on to lose the game.
Elsewhere, Sheffield Wednesday's players showed their fighting spirit but suffered late heartbreak at Birmingham. Chris Dawkes has the action.
It's fair to say referee Andy Herzog won't be on too many Christmas card lists in Sheffield this year. All was well when Tyrese Campbell put Sheffield United ahead with a fine individual goal. But from the sublime came the contentious. A penalty awarded to Southampton. Not too many complaints on this one. Adam Armstrong, though, kicking the ball into the fans. And talking of which, despite the reprieve, Blades boss Chris Wilder was still slightly irked. When the half-time whistle blew, he kicked a stray ball into the stand. Wilder apologetic, Herzog unsympathetic. Red card.
I think his frustration really with a lot of the decisions. And then as we're coming off, the ball was just there and he's gotten to kick it against either the wall or in the dugout and he just put it into the stand.
Without Wilder on the touchline, the Blades lost their edge. Ross Stewart scored twice in 7 minutes to put Southampton 2-1 up. But in stoppage time, it looked as if United had grabbed a dramatic equaliser. Siddy Peck heading in at the far post. Enter Herzog once again. Foul, he said. You're not fit to referee, they said. For the fourth time in 6 months, Sheffield Wednesday's players have not received their wages on time. Hardly ideal preparation for a trip to Birmingham, but it appears to have created something of a siege mentality. And despite going a goal behind, those players showed their resilience and desire to turn the game around. Jamal Lowe equalised, youngster George Brown put them ahead.
Brown coming in!
That looked to be that, but 9 minutes into stoppage time, heartbreak. 2-2 the final score. 3 unbeaten though for Sheffield Wednesday and 1 very proud manager.
To have this disappointing emotion now is also a good feeling because we have to remember where we are coming from, and to play this away game, then we can only be proud of our players.
Elsewhere last night, Davis Keeler-Dunn was once again on target for Barnsley, but they lost 2-1 at Notts County in the EFL Trophy. And in the same competition, Harrogate got the better of Huddersfield with a 1-0 win. Chris Dawkes, ITV News.
Yes, plenty of action both on and off the pitch last night. Now do stay with us because the ITV Evening News continues at 6:30. Here's what's making the national and international headlines with Charlotte Hawkins.
Coming up, a company linked to Tory peer Michelle Mone is ordered to pay back £122 million for supplying faulty PPE during COVID. The son of former boxing champion Ricky Hatton says the family is heartbroken over the loss. We speak to the stars of the new film, The Smashing Machine. Join me for those stories and more at 6:30.
Thank you, Charlotte. Now to the first in a new series of ours which aims to shine the spotlight on the people who are making a difference in your corner of the Calendar region.
Yes, I'm looking forward to this one. We're on the allotment this evening in Sheffield, where adults with learning difficulties work with volunteers to grow a community as well as carrots and cabbages. Here's Sally Simpson.
It's a bright morning in Sheffield and the air smells of damp soil and fresh mint. At first glance, this may look like any other community allotment, but dig a little deeper and you'll find it's a place where lives are being changed, one seed at a time.
People here are people who have learning disabilities and mental health challenges, basically, plus quite a few volunteers who come along because they like gardening, they like being out in the open air, and they want to, to work alongside people that we have as our service users.
It really brings out the best in them, doesn't it? I can see
it does, it does, and they just love it, when they've successfully grown something that they can take home You know, it's a social activity. It brings people together, so they're talking to people. They're not sitting at home on their own or watching television all day. They're actually out socialising with other people, and that's good for them as well.
Funded through local charities and supported by volunteers, the allotment offers more than just fresh produce. It teaches confidence, teamwork and independence.
I come to here to busy my brain. I feel better. At home is all the time housework and everything, but here just concentrate on the vegetable.
Can you talk me through what you've got here then?
I'm good. It's got tomatoes, onion, spring onion and coriander. I love it. Gardening.
What do you enjoy about it?
Nice to talk to people. I take rhubarb all. I'm all right.
It's atmosphere, you know what I mean? Mixing with people. It's better than being stuck in the house doing no. Only a month and a half I've been coming here. Just like one big happy family.
I've been coming a long, long time now. I enjoy coming. And you mix with people and they bond and you get these new ideas. Planting potatoes from scratch.
The good ones in here.
Then when they're grown, take them home and you cook them.
People that live in the difficulties, like people like us, come here and we need more people to come on in here and do it. I want to pass my skills on to other people.
After spending a bit of time here, it's really obvious that the people delivering this project aren't just growing cucumbers, radishes and potatoes. They're growing a community of people from all different backgrounds with one thing in common, the desire to thrive. And they're the people you want to have in your corner.
It just gives them so much, doesn't it? It gives everyone so much to be outside, I think, doesn't it?
Well, you can see just how much pleasure they're getting from that.
I know.
And I think Sally probably went home with a bag of groceries as well. She filled the fridge, probably, I should imagine.
She probably did.
Now, if you know anyone, a group of people or indeed an individual who are making a difference in your corner of the region and who you'd like us to consider featuring, then please let us know. Just send us an email to calendar@itv.com and you might get Sally Simpson along there like she did down at that allotment there in Winkerbank.
Yeah, let's see if there's some good weather and maybe a bit of rain for those veggies. Here's James Wright.
Today's forecast: seafood and sugar cube towns. TUI sponsors ITV Yorkshire Weather.
Hi there, good evening. Disappointingly grey today, and of course we had some slightly unexpected rain earlier on. Next few days, where it's going to be generally more unsettled, certainly seeing quite a lot of rain, quite a few showers, and cooler into the weekend. On top of all of that, it's going to be rather breezy. At the moment, generally settled, not always sunny, because of the high pressure. That's starting to collapse. As we run the sequence, we'll start to see these systems pushing in from the west. First one for tomorrow evening and overnight, and then as we run the sequence again, that clears to make way for Storm Amy. First British named storm of this year from the UK Met Office, and it's going to be rather wet, rather windy, because as that starts to clear away, you can see all those tightly packed isobars, and of course getting cooler because it's going to start pulling down some cooler air from Iceland. This evening and overnight then are generally settled, not much in the way of breaks in the cloud. We will see a nice mild southerly breeze. It's certainly going to be a mild night even by the end of it, with lows of 12 or 13 Celsius. And then tomorrow, yes, there might be some bright spells around and about, relatively mild, highs of around 18 or 19 Celsius. Might not feel it because of the amounts of the cloud that we're seeing, but also the breeze picking up. And that's going to be a noticeable feature during the latter part of the afternoon. So like I say, highs up into the high teens. That system clears away, so some brightness early on Friday, and then Storm Amy turns up, bringing some strong winds and quite a lot of wet weather. Amy clears away to give us a whole rash of showers and those cooler temperatures too. Have a good evening.
TUI sponsors ITV Yorkshire Weather.
Thank you, James. That's about it from us for now. The national and international headlines follow next as the ITV Evening News continues with Charlotte Hawkins.
Yes, and we have Emma Wilkinson here with the late news, which is at 10:30 tonight. We'll be back, of course, with Calendar tomorrow. Hope you can join us then. Thanks for watching.
Bye-bye.